am Shaggy. I am Philalitheia. I am walking home, and as I do on my walks home, before I invite anyone, I'm listening to a song. Maybe the future audience would like to guess that song. Boom, ba da doo da da doo da da doo da doo da 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 doo da da doo da da doo dee. Bow, 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 da da da, ba da 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 da, bow dow dow da da da, bow dow dow da da. Ba da da da, bow down, bow down, down, bow down, down, bow da 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 da, bow down, da 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 da. New boy joins his earth and quickly is subdued to constipate this grace. A young boy learns their rules. In time the child draws in. This whipping boy done wrong, deprived of all his thoughts. The young man struggles on and on, he's known, ooh, a vow unto his own. That never from this day his will they'll take away. Yeah. What I've felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never free, never see, won't see what might have been. What I've felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never free, label me, so I dub the unforgiven. They dedicate their lives to running out of his. They tries to please them all. This bitter man he is. Throughout his life the same. He's battled constantly. This fight he cannot win. The tired man they see no longer cares. The old man then prepares to die regretfully. That old man he is made. What I've felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never be, never see, won't see what might have been. What I've felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never free, label me, so I dub the unforgiven. Hello, Red. I can't get that high. Hello, Jack. Wow, 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 wow. What I've felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never be, never see, won't see what might have been. What I've felt, what I've known, Never shine doing what's shown. Never free, label me. So I dub the unforgiven. Whoa, whoa. Never free, label me. So I dub the unforgiven. Never me, I'll label you. So I dub the unforgiven. You label free, never me. So I dub the unforgiven. You labeled me, I'll label you. So I dub the unforgiven. Never free, never me. Pretty sure it's this path that I beat, Zigzag. It's not really the same if it's your feet that trod the path. All the love I've shown, given to the ones I've known. All the love I make is equal to the love I take. All the love I've shown is even to the ones I've shown along the way. Free from it all, breathe in the darkest fog. Through afterlife, through a brother's eyes, you know, through a fire embers low. What did a different stone? Let it glow, your spirit flies. Oh, the love I've shown, given to the ones I've known. All the love I make is equal to the love I take. Love the very best, and careful of the ones you lost along the way. I'm free from it all. Breathe in the darkest fog. Laughter light through a brother's eyes, you know. Through fire embers low. Daunted a different stone. Letting go, your spirit flies. Hey, Tyrannosaurus. Thank you, Jesus loves. Lamb devoured us in the morning light. The sparrow flies. When the moon devoured us, we'll let it guide. Wah, 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 wah. Safe from it all, within the darkest fog, laughter light through a brother's eyes, you'll know, through fire embers low, wanted a different stone, letting go your spirit flies. All right. It's not bad. Tonight's in the low 30s. It's like right at freezing, 32 Fahrenheit tonight. It's not bad at all. How you doing, Tyrannosaurus? How are we all doing, everybody? It's not bad at all. I'll start to notice it's cold, but I have my pants pulled up around my legs to expose my skin. I mean, you don't have to believe me, but yeah, it's cold. All right. For anybody triggered by tobacco use, oh, it's a good day, Tyrannosaurus. I played night 49, so Horde night 7 today, and 7 days to die, and it went about as well as I could hope. It forced me to use all 3 stages of my base, which if I'm forced to use fewer than 2, I'm a little bit bummed that it was too easy. So it was a good time. I think I'm on day 47 right now, maybe 46. I may not have finished my trigger warning. If you're triggered by cigarette use, I'm sorry for you, but I'm not going to not have this cigarette. You're welcome to come back in 20 minutes. Good. That's all I did with my day today. Hey, what's up, Matthew? Good to see you. Actually, I might not have my lighter somehow. There it is. Yeah, this should be the full one. Now, just so we're aware, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be live tonight. I kind of decided to take the day off. I'm here because Matsla asked if I was going to be, and so I said if you guys did that, I would make the effort. So I'm making the effort. Gonna take away your computers today. That's fun. I was that guy who didn't go to parties and get-togethers and stuff because I didn't have a direct invitation. Like, hey, are you coming? Oh, what? No, I wasn't going to. I appreciate that, Tyrannosaurus. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I was just kind of enjoying the day. I overslept from my perspective, but I got actually 8 hours of sleep today, and I just after that I didn't feel like doing anything all day. But I do have a new. There will be another Believers Grind video going to the channel. Rach is currently the only believer tier on the Patreon, so I'm taking the believers through achievement grinding the Final Fantasy titles, and we're gonna go 5, 6, probably 7, 8, 9, and then circle back to 1, 2, 3, 4 because I've already done 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the channel. I haven't played Magic the Gathering in a serious way. I know the rules, but no, it's too expensive. And no, I don't play the mobile version either. It feels like a time sink with no reward. Magic the Gathering does. Yeah, yeah. The first 3 episodes, it might only be 2 actual episodes, but the first three, yeah, I saw that. The Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering looks exactly like what it is, a cash grab. I don't have any intention of bothering. I'm glad to hear you got back into it, pal. Diff. Up 38. It's all good, Tricky. I had forgotten until you said anything. What's my hobby? I don't have hobbies. I don't do hobbies, no. Hobbies are a time sink for the middle class. No, I don't do hobbies. Lots of things make me happy. I prefer to be happy, so I choose to be happy. Diff. It's all what make being happy and not being happy are about interpretation. Right now, wizard, I'm sitting here. You shouldn't take it as an insult. You should take it as I like you enough. I like you enough to just not get mad at you, Tricky. Move past you being belligerent. See you tomorrow. The air is really still tonight. I wonder if that means it's going to get warm later this week. Warm relative to freezing. It's going to be in the 40s in the next couple of days. What I spend my time doing? I've been spending my time doing this. Diff. I record. I've been recording or not Final Fantasy. I was just talking about how I recorded a episode of Final Fantasy V with the Patreon tier believers yesterday, and today I played a bunch of 7 days for the channel. Heard that, Matthew. That's cool. Yes, Wizard. Hello, Just. What's up? Do I enjoy reading? No, I wouldn't say that I enjoy reading unless I'm reading out loud for an audience, Citrus. Personal or private reading I actually find torturous. The books, the vast majority of the books that I have consumed in my life have been audiobooks. I prefer to listen. I find watching boring. No, I wouldn't describe where I am as in the woods. I think everybody loves a good movie. Well, Citrus, I buy audio in 3 categories. Broadly, I buy obviously fiction. I would say the best fiction I've ever read or listened to was Edward W. Robertson is the name of the author. Edward W. Robertson's Cycle of Iran and Galland, Cycles of Iran and Galland. Um, Timothy. Oh, that's his first name. Fitzgerald, Timothy, something like that. Anyway, the narrator is just really good. Um, the second category I listen to is nonfiction books. The nonfiction book that stood out to me is particularly well read that I listened to recently was Laura Spinney's Proto is the name of the book. It's about the spread of the Proto-Indo-European language into the languages that we speak today. I think it was read by the author. That one was particularly well read. And then the third category that I listen to is lecture series, and I would have to think about that. Yeah, I've read the 48 Laws of Power. I didn't particularly enjoy it. Hello, P. Planta. The book was fine, but the author is annoying. Um, Teofilo F. Ruiz's Mysticism and the Terror of History, I think is what it's called, or The Mystic and the Terror of History, something of that effect, is one that stands out in my mind. I've listened to, these are great lectures courses. Um, the lectures course about Gnosticism, Gnostic Christianity was exceptionally good. The lecture series on the Eastern minds or the great minds of the Eastern tradition was exceptionally good. But I liked those because the Gnosticism was from a guy from Ohio State University, and I listened to it while I was in Columbus. So it was like I was attending OSU, the university right there. I have heard Alan Watts. Alan Watts is a shallow and superficial, which those mean the same thing, but they don't mean the same thing in our modern language. So a shallow and superficial douchebag at the very least, and then or at the very best, that's what he is. Um, that's the least of the negative criticism that I could give to Alan Watts. Um, and then the Great Minds of the Eastern Tradition was a professor from Asheville, from the University of North Carolina, Asheville, and I lived in Asheville for many years of my life. Yes, really, as regard Alan Watts. How so? What as regards Alan Watts? He stole an intellectual tradition that wasn't his and sold it to college students, and for some reason that makes him important in the history of Buddhism. Alan Watts could go fuck himself. I am the only person allowed to have that specific messiah complex. Do I have any history books to recommend? Trying to get into history? Yeah, absolutely, I do. Give me a second. Um, I just finished Barry Cunliffe, Cunliffe. I just finished his Europe Between the Oceans, I think is what it's called. Let me double check. I just read it and then I wanted to. Europe Between the Oceans. It's a meta history of Europe between 6000 BCE and 1000 AD, and it's fucking incredible. It's very good. I'm all right at best, Diff. You're watching a homeless person address the starving masses, Migo. Wouldn't that make me a mirror? I don't know, Matthew. I might have missed your lead in. I'm not dismissing you. I genuinely don't know. Maybe, Rob. You could say that he was promoting Orientalism to college students, but what wasn't asked of me is what I think of Orientalism and the work that Alan Watts did promoting our Orientalism. I was asked about the celebrity of Alan Watts, and what I think of the celebrity of Alan Watts is that he stole the Buddha shtick and sold it to white college students in the United States, not even in his own home country, and that he can go fuck himself. I don't know what it means to give off an NPC vibe, but thank you, Diff. I'm sure that you're trying to compliment me in a way that I'm just older than you enough to be offended by. Yeah, I know what an NPC is. I play video games. But I don't know if you young people know what NPCs do in video games. They mostly stand around and wait for the player to interact with them. That's not what like that might be what a certain number of people on the internet are doing, but that's literally what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I know, Diff. But I was an eldest. So younger people will forever be beneath me in uh, awareness and cognitive activity. What do you think I mean by his celebrity? He had interesting takes because he stole all of them, Matthew. Nothing that he offered to Buddhism was idiosyncratic or new. Maybe citrus. I've sat down in the path to let you guys catch up. That's what we're here for, is catch up time. That's what you think I mean by his celebrity, or Rob? Is that what you think I mean by his celebrity? What is Britney Spears' celebrity? Celebrity is something you have. Do you know any other words that begin with CELEB? You don't have any reason to be sorry, Diff. We got a whole conversation talk going with people I don't know. Probably it can, Matthew. That's why I said that only I am allowed to have that specific Messiah complex. If it can be said of everybody, then I'm the best. Uh, I I might be the Eggman, Matthew. You should stay right where you are, Diff. Why do you think I'm going to send you to somebody else? Why would I do that? What money is there to be made in that for me? Maybe, Diff, but what you just did is walked into a BP gas station and asked for directions to the Shell. What's in it for me to offer you a nice gesture? What's in it for me? You just said to me, where's a wisdom teacher that I can go to? Why would I send you to a different wisdom teacher when I just said that I am superior? Why would I send you to my inferior? I'm beginning to think you only listen to some of the words I say, like the ones that you know you can respond to. Rob, are you going to tell me what other words you know that begin with CELEBR? Oh. Right. So someone's celebrity is the manner in which other people celebrate them. You tried what, Migo? Celebrate. So somebody is celebrity, someone's celebrity is not their celebration because that's a thing, and not their celebrateness because that's a dumb word. It's the manner in which people celebrate them. How do we celebrate Alan Watts? By jerking off to EDM. Is he valuable to the human consciousness? Not even a little bit. Well, Darren, Philalitheia means lover of truth. I have never spoken a lie on this channel that I didn't intend as irony. Thank you, Diff. That's the goal. I gave somebody a book rec, though. I gave somebody actually like 6 book recs. Diff. As far as pedagogues and demagogues, I'm going to suggest that you sit right here. Have a good night, Diff. Don't worry about it, Beat. I don't know you like that. If I didn't say it, take care, Diff. It's been nice making your acquaintance. Sure, Rob. Thank you, Darren. Sure, Rob. But all he did was he made a career out of, as I've said before, being shallow and superficial right at the surface of Buddhism. He made a career out of skimming the surface of Buddhism for children. Who cares? At this point in your life, you should be able to look back on him and realize that he gave you nothing. One could just search for similar dissimilar philosophers to Watts, Matthew, but what does similar dissimilar even mean if you don't know if you don't know that you don't know that you're no deeper than the very basics? How are you going to know who's similar or dissimilar? Maybe, Rob. If you don't know enough to know that you're only at the introductory stage, decades into your search, how are you going to know how to divide your search? Who's going to tell you? You made it this far and you still need my help. Who's going to tell you? I love you guys deeply. I'm telling you my story by the questions I asked to get me here. I don't know what that means, Joshua. But again, if you don't know that you don't know that you're at the introductory, how are you going to know what the best questions are? I don't know what that means, Mike. It's like I was listening to the girls in Taco Bell tonight in the kitchen talk as they were approaching close, and the girl who's only ever closed with the general manager is like, "Well, you're gonna find out that when I work, I get my shit done early so we can get out of here on time because I don't like to be here after close." And while they're talking, the boys just going, 30 minutes, 27 minutes, 25 minutes. And then the other girl, they're both younger than 20. The one might have just turned 18, and the one who's managing I know is 19 because she talks about it. And not to me, they're just very fucking loud in the kitchen, and they don't try to hide. They don't try to hide anything they're saying from me. And she's like, "Well, if you actually want to close, you're going to learn a lot of things about how this store is actually run, and what actually happens, and how much work we actually have to do." And she goes, "Well, I'm sorry, but that's a good problem to have because nobody will teach anybody anything on first shift. So if you're on first shift and no one will teach you what is required of you in the job and you never work a closing shift, how will you know what questions to ask to get better at your job if you don't know that you're not good at your job?" If you don't know that you don't know the basics, how do you ask good questions? Maybe, Matthew. Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe, Rob. I was the best at mine, Josh. I don't know why you're going to go from preaching the Bible to saying negative things. Jesus didn't say to say the gospel unless you just don't feel like it. What mistakes, Joshua? But Dunning-Kruger, the actual Dunning-Kruger effect, it's not the Dunning-Kruger syndrome, it's Dunning-Kruger effect. The actual Dunning-Kruger effect, Rob, would suggest that you don't actually know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is. That's the reasoning you use to figure out your Linux problem, Matthew? That's mistakes happened. You're here is the opposite of a Christian theological position, Joshua. Pick one. Are you a Christian? Are you an Abrahamic believer, or are you who you actually are? Because the you who you actually are is a piece of shit. How what? You're going straight to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Jesus will say to his father that he never knew you. Right now, I'm cursing Joshua Samuels to hell, Victoria. When you die, God will not have known you. He started talking about the Bible, and then since he brought up the Bible, he has been negative and anti-Christian toward me. And so what I said is whatever thing he said earlier was anti-Christian. He wasn't being critical. He was being negative and hurtful. And Jesus didn't say to love thy neighbor and thy enemy as thyself unless it's inconvenient to you and you're in a chat room. God doesn't know you, demon. Matthew, that's called intermittent engagement. Whatever you think it's called, that's called intermittent engagement. Well, you could scroll up, Sizzle Sack. You can type, you can scroll up. Hey, the Mudslid. I'm going to play 7 days when I'm done here. Is what a bad thing? Intermittent engagement? No, intermittent engagement is one of the most effective tricks and tools for learning. I didn't just delete the message, I deleted the person. Like that. I wouldn't say that I live out in the wilderness, no. I live in a ravine behind a shopping center. I wouldn't even say I live here, I'd say I sleep here. What's up, Chris? Mm-hmm. That's why intermittent engagement is so useful. Your brain, you, the pilot of your brain and of your body, are only so smart. You are only so smart, but your brain, your brain is way smarter than you are. Get that a lot, Rick. And so if you take the pilot and you have the pilot do something else, then the brain can get its work done because you, the pilot, are an extremely inefficient thinker. Hello, Jeff. No, I've never seen a goose here in Zanesville. I've seen a few ducks, but I've never seen a goose. What's up, Eric? How's it going, buddy? Okay, Rick. Thank you for sharing. That isn't to say that they don't exist. They might pass overhead, but I haven't seen any. I've lived here almost 5 years. I haven't ever seen any. It'll be 5 years in February. Thank you for sharing, Jeff. What do I want people to know? I want people to know what they're looking for. You're silly, Eric. I don't know what those mean. There's always a right answer, Rob. Yes. The real question is whether there's a wrong answer. No, there's always a right answer. There's always one correct answer. There are many wrong answers, was the riddle there. There is not a wrong answer. There are an infinitude. Indeed, Jeff. Thank you for sharing, Rick. I do know of him. This town I live in, Tyrannosaurus, is named after Zane Grey, and the woman that I was living with most recently was the world's biggest Zane Grey fan. I know of him. No, I'm not living by the Muskingum River, but the Muskingum River cuts through this town. No. The wrong answers are all more or less personal, Rob, yes. That's why philosophy is a lesser abstraction religiously than Philalitheia. This is what I do for a living, Weary. Hello to Fort Wayne, Indiana, Major J. Johnson. Did you serve? Did you enjoy your service, Major J? Hello, Hunter. Thank you, Matthew. And thank you for your service, Major. No, we're all looking for different things, Rob. Philosophy tries to reduce the things we're looking for to a. There's a word for it. Give me a second. Probably first cause is the I don't read a lot of this shit and I don't memorize it, but I think that's what it's called. I think psychology is looking for the first cause thing that we're all looking for. They're trying to reduce the complexity of human life into a single search, and they can't. No, I didn't enjoy Kerouac, Tyrannus. I'm sorry that so many of the questions that you're asking me are like definitive no's. It doesn't mean I don't like you. I have strong opinions, and I never actually thought anybody would engage me on them, so they got weird over time. The Jared Leto? No, I wouldn't find that insulting. I do kind of look like his 2049 character. Thank you for sharing that, Jeff. It doesn't mean I like you any less. I promise. Some of the things some people like, I would tell you, like, I don't know. I don't think I like people who like that, but you've never done that. You've never given me cause. Eric, you're silly. Yeah, he was a prolific Western writer. The Western romance of Hollywood was almost exclusively out of Zane Grey's imagination, though. Yeah, you can find him anywhere. He was prolific. He was prolific and a bestseller. So his stuff is not rare. And that's only a that's only a criticism to a certain kind of writer. I didn't read his stuff and people really like it, so I have no reason to care. He kept people interested in literature at a time when fiction and especially the West were not popular. And he had a good sex life. I have, Rob. Yes. You're either asking me if I've used psychoactive compounds or if I've used psychedelic compounds. You cute Tyrannosaurus. You might not want to hear another man say that, but Rachel would have, so someone needs to. Mm, mm. They didn't have those effects for me, Rob. I can't really either anymore, Matthew. You out, Eric? On the road, Jeff? Well, that's the thing, Rob. I was already bodhisattva by the time I experimented with psychedelics, so I just experimented the bliss I carry around with me everywhere. I didn't do lame and idiotic stoner shit. Like I had a girlfriend who wanted to put on like flashing lights while we tripped LSD, and that's just not what I did with it. Sure, the lights were there in the room, but that's just not what I was doing. You really like just being you? I mastered Zen meditation in middle or in high school, Rob. So I was in control of the trip. Sure, input. And because you're self-reporting, your data is useless to science. So you're allowed to like pretty lights. I also like pretty lights. But as far as taking psychedelics for that, heard that, Eric. Mm, I don't really know what you mean by that, Mercoid. What deeper experience do you assume, believe, or think I wanted? You're silly, Eric. And I don't call them hallucinogenics, I call them psychedelics. Hallucinogenic isn't a relevant scientific term and hasn't been for decades. Hello, Jason. What's up? Um, I don't think the feds are making the argument that it's a hallucinogenic and THC is a mild psychedelic. Hello, Polyish. What am I on? I don't know what that means. I'm on YouTube. What's my story? More expensive than you're willing to pay, Jason. Okay, Matthew, but again, that's still not relative or relevant, especially scientifically, which is what I said. A document that was written in the 1970s isn't relevant scientifically 55 years later. And you didn't answer my question, Mercoid. Maybe Tyrannus, but he wasn't one of them. He was a manic depressive, neurotic, and spent his time with women. Hello, Beams. And he didn't enjoy the company of men. So if he knew those men, he disapproved of them. That guy, my ex used to just on my ear about how that guy was so special. He was sensitive. No, but he did fuck his wife's sister and all of his wife's sister's female friends. Wheeling is in Ohio somewhere. I don't know, man. Zane, yeah. He wrote his books with his wife's money. He was a dentist by trade and hated it, so he married rich, and he used her money to write books. And she wasn't interested in sex, so she let him fuck her sister. And what he would do is he would tell her that he was depressed and needed to go on retreats out to the west and take her sister and all of her sister's female friends and go live in a great big tent and fuck until his book was done writing. Is it messed up? It produced a prolific amount of literature, and he ended up out earning her by the end of his life. She stayed home and managed all of his money. Was it messed up? He was having a very active sex life with 5 descending in age women from his own, and his wife was managing his money that made itself because she published all his books. So you tell me whether that's messed up or whether that isn't the actual fucking dream. I've never played Red Dead Redemption. No, I haven't ever played a. I've never played a Rockstar game. No interest. What do I like to do? The things I do. I'm not interested in stupid stoner stuff, Mercoid. Why can't it just be a symbiotic relationship, polyish? No, I have no hobbies, Rob. It wanted Nor out of my trip. If that's how you feel, Florida. That's interesting, Toronto. I didn't know that. The Austrian painter. I have no thoughts on art. Philalitheia means lover of truth. It's a higher order of abstraction than philosopher. Well, then that means that was the first person that came to your mind, Polish, which means you were thinking about the controversial leader. Do I live in a more suburban area than what? Input. Or than whom? I wouldn't say I like jazz, no. Just in general. I don't know how it could be more or less suburban than in general. I don't know what in general is to you, Input. My hands, Davy. I haven't put product in my hair in years, Davy. I'm just better than you at things. Okay. Well, if you're not going to use suburban to mean what suburban means to a sociologist or a city planner, then I don't know how I'm more or less than that, Input. I don't know how to answer your question. I don't have any context for what you mean. If you say so, Polish, just means it's in your head. It means it's the first thing you thought of, which means it was just waiting there on a neuron to fire, which means you're actively thinking about it. You can say, "Oh, I see it a lot," but I don't see it a lot. So maybe you and I are just different people. Why does that matter to you, Markoid? What brings me joy? Why does only one thing have to bring a person joy? Input. Are you the Census Bureau? Bureau? If I were a renunciate of the world, would I be talking to you, Rob? Are you not in the world? Are you not of the world? I'm not weary of newcomers. I'm weary of stupid questions. Input. You keep saying stuff like this, Polyish, but the first thing on your mind indicates what you're thinking about. And so you can spin your silly words that don't mean anything to try to defend that, but you thought of it and spoke it. Okay, well, thank you for jumping in to make yourself useful, Mercoid. I'm sure I can, Steph. I'm not going to. Which one, Mud? I don't know any of these people. Penny should have been discontinued decades ago. Well, renunciation, what does it mean to renunciate? Renunciation means rejection. I'm fine, Eclipse. Reject. Yeah. Abstain. No, I'm clearly not rejecting the world. I'm glad to have your approval, Eclipse. You're very generous, Eclipse. Very magnanimous. Why not, Mercoid? What do you think? I'm answering questions, Kelly. You're not here because you're interested in what I think, Mercoid. You're here to ask me questions. That one's tough, Jay. They're my two favorite offensive coaches. I've been watching those dudes since they were Dolphins position coaches. Because they're in different conferences, I prefer to not choose between them. Hello, Chris. I don't generate an income out of Philly, Kelly. Thank you, Rob. Mercoid disagrees, but here we are. The famous cynic? I'm sure there are lots of famous cynics. Cynicism was a Greek religion, but you mean to ask me Diogenes' name? Take care, Rob. Thank you, JMO. All of the cynics were Greek, so all of the famous cynics were from Greece. But you're probably asking me about Diogenes, the dog philosopher. Not really. Zero. You do look like your dad would beat you if you knew who he was. He did indeed, Matthew. He did indeed. I don't remember the famous story. But he did indeed. He said something to the effect that that Diogenes himself was freer than Alexander the Great. I appreciate that, Tyrannosaurus. Not every guy, not, yes, he did live in a barrel. Not every night plays out the same, humans and all that, and the nature of my show. He did live out of a barrel. And when some ne'er do well youths of Athens stole his barrel, the adult league, all of the adults of the demos of Athens pooled their money together to buy him another one and to apologize for the misdeed done against him. Maybe there's just something wrong with you, Mercoid. Maybe it's just you. No, I do not live in Philadelphia. This is what I do. I am me. I am uneducated, no. I haven't been back, Miles. I don't like to be there. You asked me a question. I'm still answering your question. But I'm also calling you out as a total asshole. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe the reason you don't understand is because you don't understand. I have never seen Bigfoot, no input. Why do I want to do that, Kelly? I don't have a child, hamster. I don't need a crib. I don't know what you're talking about, Polyish. What position and what criticisms? Are you not engaging, Kelly? This is what I'm doing, hamster. Am I sober right now, input? The ego doesn't balance instinct and morality. That's Al Green. Okay, well when you figure it out, you tell me. Input. I don't know what that means, Colorado. I don't know, Matthew. I actually don't remember. But you got to get into these lives early if you want to catch the real Shaggy. Once strangers start coming through, we're just gonna start playing intellectual judo, and you have to read between the lines. Trump is a no-go unless we're talking about hearts. Classy and throat with Freud's wrong. You didn't ask me what did Freud say. You asked me the manner in which it happens. It doesn't happen because Freud was wrong. That should be your username, Wagoner. Hello, Tim. I'm leaning back. My spine is starting to hurt from sitting like that all day. I am very tall. I need to stretch my spine. If you're actually a drunk, we are not likely to get along. Input. I don't get along with drunks very long, for very long or for very well, because they can't get along with themselves. I didn't say alcohol is poison. There is not a bear outside.
I said I don't get along with people who choose to drink alcohol. I watched American Psycho when I was in 5th grade and I thought it was an abhorrent piece of trash. I won't watch anything Christian Bale's made since then. I don't know what atrazine is, demonic. I thought it was tasteless trash. I don't have a defiant nature. I don't know what a defiant nature is. I don't know what it is, so I don't know how to try to get less. That's what they say, Busta. I wouldn't know. Well, it sounds like whether it was a comedy or not, I thought it was an abhorrent piece of trash, and I won't watch Christian Bale's movies because of it. Maybe, Busta. I wouldn't say I'm staying warm, Corey. Comfortable. That's what they say. Vile goat, can you define humility? But does he love you? That's the question, white chicken. I know God loves me. Does he love you? Sea of Stars, the JRPG is one of the very worst games I've ever played. I made a whole series about it. His strongest angles, the hardest tasks. Thank you for sharing, James. I don't know. Music? I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, input. Never felt more like strong bad than that one. Have you ever really ever been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like? Yikes. I don't know what that question means, Polyish. I'm short on nicotine, Iris. Indeed, Matthew, it do be like that sometimes. Thank you for articulating what you see Brian. See Brian run. See Brian state what Brian sees. Wordsmith? Indeed. Hello, Brian. Who is? The Wordsmith would be a boring video game. Uh, I'm not sure what you're asking me, Randy. I haven't. Music, no. Maybe, Matthew. Have a good night, Brian. I would say don't do anything I wouldn't do, but you already are. It's the door to my tent, Randy. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. Be well. Etymological mystery? I don't know what that means. Iris, I don't know what you mean by that. Etymological mystery. Type of music heals my soul? I wouldn't say that music heals my soul. Music. I wouldn't say that my soul is wounded. Maybe, Matthew. There's no actual evidence of that. Under close examination, the phenomenon goes away. Words can confuse me, yes. I don't know how one battles uh, schizophrenia, Randy. The jump in appropriateness of those two questions. I'm not asking you questions, Randy. not how that works, dexterity. The OA? No, I haven't watched Netflix in like 7 or 8 years. I don't know what the OA is. I haven't heard of that. Heard that, Tarana. There was another one about time travel on Netflix that I didn't watch either. It was a German show. That's cool, Tyrannus. You can always grow with it. You can always watch the show multiple times until it cracks you wide open and you finally understand, and now you know that forever. Are you really big into prehistoric humans input? That's a wildly specific sexual niche to occupy. You like hunter gatherer titties, do you? Input. Maybe that's what it is, Tim. Thank you, Trent. I appreciate that. Okay, Mercoid. I will now that I've got your permission. I'm in the imagination box. The hollow dome. I do this to myself a lot. These are okay. But I bought these Oreo cookie and cream Reese's peanut butter cups. And my only real complaint with them is that they have peanut butter in them. So, not a real complaint. I don't know visual. I've never seen Jurassic Park. Turns out, Tino, I'm me every day. Jeff Goldblum. If there is a theory named the theory of time, no, I couldn't tell it to you. All you need is a little dino DNA. Well, yes, polyish. It's any amount of peanut butter is too much peanut butter. I don't know why I thought. I guess I forgot about the peanut butter in them. The original Choco from Land of the Lost. I never got to watch Land of the Lost. I really wanted to. I don't look anything like Jeff Goldblum. Oh, it's all good, Matthew. It's Saturday. It's all good. And I said I wasn't going to do this long. I could have ended it any time within the last hour. I could have ended it any time after Mutt came in. He asked me if I was going live. He wanted to know if I was playing 7 days. The answer was and the answers were in order yes and also no. So this could have been over. Yeah. It was on TV when I was a kid, Tyrannus. I always wanted to watch it, but I've never seen it. It looked cool. It looked fun. I liked Sliders too. Isn't that what it was called? What up, Scott? Unless you weren't talking to me. Oh, you were greeting Tennessee? My bad. From Tennessee, Scott says hey. What's that zombie movie with the lesser Michael Cera? Quantum Leap was cool, and I didn't get to watch it much either. I was too young, but it was very cool. Jesse Eisenberg, Roser, whatever. Um, my state is increasing impatience with your inability to recognize that I'm making fun of you and encouraging you to be quiet, Scott. Only one way to find out, Polly-ish. I have not been to Australia. Yeah, I haven't actually engaged in much zombie material. Tyrannosaurus. I never liked it much. I play 7 Days to Die for the. I think I told you this before, but I play 7 Days to Die for the deep RPG and the voxel. I play for the mechanics of the game, not for the theme, not for the genre. I do enjoy the survival of it though. I didn't think I would, and I've grown to really like it actually. Some people think that, Antonio, but they're wrong. I know why you asked the question, but there's only one way to find out the answer. Chat doesn't have the answer. Crowdfunded, maybe. Crowdsourced, not so much. I quite literally said to you, Antonio, that I have heard of that. People have theorized that, and they were wrong. If you turned into a photon right now and went that direction, you would never stop. The universe is expanding at the speed of light. You can't reach the edge of it. When they were theorizing that, they didn't know that the universe was expanding. They thought the universe was a finite globe, and that we are inside that finite globe, and that there is an outside of that finite globe, and there isn't. That's probably wrong, Polyish. I did input. I am currently reading a book about the Neanderthal. Ooh. It's almost like the genre of fantasy as you have it was um, developed at the same time that our understanding of the actual Neanderthal species was just getting underway. No thoughts on whatever that is, Antonio? Is the theory that the universe is expanding a right claim to make? We can observe the universe expanding. I don't know what you're talking about, Polyish. Yeah, the Homo floresiensis, Tyrannosaurus. I don't know what you're missing, Antonio. I know that you're pretentious, Justin. Homo floresiensis is the Latin name, is the scientific name of the Hobbit people. Hobbit people. Fennec foxes? What about fennec foxes? Hey, thank you, BTK. That's very cool of you. I don't know anything about fennec foxes. You say we like you know what they see, Polyish. Sure, Tyrannosaurus. Maybe. Input. That's not why Homo floresiensis are small. Homo floresiensis are small because of island dwarfism. Who's trying to sound professional, Polyish? Professional relative to what, Justin? Who's my boss? Where is my superior? Who are my peers? Why do I give a fuck if you think I'm professional? If that's how you feel, Pong Pong. I don't know why that's interesting input. It sounds like you don't know much about how archaeology works. I'm fine, Mario. No, Spitball. Oh, Mario, I'm fine. I'm listening to what sounds like two mice fighting over my trash. Okay. Oh, buddy, I hear you. What am I discussing about archaeology? Somebody was asking me if I knew that the Homo floresiensis, also known as Hobbit people, existed. I wouldn't say that we're discussing anything about archaeology. I would say that if you scrolled up, you would notice that what's his face? It's gone now. Input has been sharing non sequitur factoids for a while now. No, Jack. Sure, input. Over a decade ago, we were wrong. Thank you, Mario. Are you aware of the Noleti? Is it crazy? Input? We haven't advanced that much. Depends on what you mean by advanced. I don't know if they're a homo. Just a burial cave before Homo sapiens existed in Africa. Naledi. Naledi. I. I don't remember the name of the cave. The remains are like 2 million years old and arranged in a funeral way. Not in whatever way you want me to, Mario. Or Mario, sorry. Thank you for sharing, Justin. Uh, okay, Tyrannosaurus, the dwarf people, the Homo, no, the Homo floresiensis, they died out. They went extinct like 40,000 years ago or something. Mario, I already told you that whatever stupid thing you believe about those two words, I don't. Yeah, they're an ancient species. They died out as a species like 40,000 years ago. They shrunk down that small because before maybe it wasn't 40,000, maybe it was 15,000 years ago, but anyway, the sea level rose on the landmass where they all lived and it trapped them on an island. So they got small. It's called island dwarfism. There are species of elephants that are like the size of a Great Dane because they lived on an island long enough that they got that small. That's just a. Are you talking about like the prominent brow ridge? That's a Neanderthal trait. But Europeans and Europeans and Middle Easterners have more Neanderthal genetics than Asians, Native Americans, and Africans. Africans have almost no Neanderthal DNA. Shabbat Shalom, Knox. Some peanuts. No, he just had ugly parents. Neanderthal admixture was so long ago genetically that no, they're not special. I don't know what that is, Mario. Sure. Input. You might notice that Asians are smaller today than Europeans. The land masses have a body size body mass ceiling. They have a nutrient ceiling. You don't see dinosaurs walking around anymore either. A large part of why Neanderthal died out is because their larger body mass required more. It required more calories, and as they evolved bigger and bigger and bigger, it increased. It required more and more and more calories. So as hunting and foraging became more and more difficult, especially as they began to compete with human beings, Homo sapiens, they lost to climate change. I don't think you're exaggerating. I'm just saying they just have ugly parents. Not gigantic. They weren't tall. They were a little shorter on average than Homo sapiens, but they were thick and they were hugely muscled. They were more densely muscled than like a bodybuilding human being today. They were huge and strong, thick. They were thick. They weren't tall. They were thick. Because you got to remember they weren't that far away from the leaned over stoopy type ape. We had been we had been upright for a long time for many species by the time of Neanderthal, but they weren't that far removed. They were big. They had big arms, big legs. The males oftentimes had curved femurs. Their legs were so big and thick. They had to be so dense with muscle to survive the environments they lived in. I like nachos. Pat. Mm. Well, yeah, Tyrannosaurus. That's because the Geico caveman is based off human beings. The Neanderthal didn't look anything like that. Those people just had really ugly parents. Their bodies required more nutrients. Yeah, they just had really ugly parents. Hold on. But evidence shows that they were significantly more interspecies peaceful than Homo sapiens. They've only ever found two obvious murder cases. They've only found two obvious murders in the archaeology. You don't have to look very far to find murders in human archaeology, even at the time, 40,000 years ago and earlier. You probably done. Cannibalism back then was also brutal. I don't know what that means. I haven't read any Anne Rice. Tyrannus has a special strong ghost. I haven't read any Anne Rice. Heard that. All right, I am starting to get sleepy actually. I was just sitting here thinking about how that Lucas got me again. They weren't fighting. There weren't two mice. It was Lucas pretending to have a fight, making all that damn noise to tell me to give him some fucking peanuts. And I tossed him some peanuts and he left. I am so easily emotionally manipulated by a mouse. He has jumped on my face to tell me to give him snacks. Maybe, Demko. If that's how you feel, input. Yeah, I'm fading. That mouse was not grateful, Polly. Lucas was absolutely not grateful. I don't know how you think a mouse would be grateful to me. I don't know. I don't know how you think it would express gratitude or why it would, but I also know, Polly-ish, that you don't know what gratitude is. No, I'm not going to try to stay up, Tyrannus. I couldn't make instant coffee if I wanted to, but I hear you, man. I'm going to drift off here in a minute. Right now I'm just laughing at the idea of Lucas the Mouse standing up after screaming at me and pretending that he was in harm from somebody down there, and I threw him a handful of nuts. I just imagining him gathering up his nuts in his arm like Fievel Goes West and giving me a, "Well, thank you, quite good, sir. You're so good to me," and gutting off with his nuts. Yeah, great big thank yous from that little mouse. You don't know what gratitude is. If you think mice are grateful for your trash, you don't know what gratitude is. Just very dumb, Polly-ish. Everything you say is wrong and unhelpful. But sure, you respect animals. You respect animals because they can't have a negative opinion of you. They can't have opinions. Totally grateful. I'm sure I will see the gift that elevates me from poverty from Lucas forthwith. Animals are grateful. Tell me you don't know anything about anything, Polly-ish, without telling me you don't know anything. Actually, just stop telling me anything. Do us both a favor. Tap your thumbs at somebody else. Anyway, I hate to tell 27 of you goodbye, and that seems like a really bad time to leave a live stream. Is when I'm so popular. But you'll come back, or you won't. Until next time. Be well, or don't.